So because of this incitement to violence, as Twitter is perceiving it, they are permanently suspending the president's account.
Well, I mean, it's political repression, period.
If you're a Trump supporter, you're getting fired because you're a Trump supporter, and that has been the case. However, this is a slippery slope because there are a lot of business owners out there who are conservatives.
I mean, how much of the world's kitty goes through Gmail? How many Gmail accounts have been used to order plastic explosives? So this is coming from everywhere all of a sudden, and we're going to unpack what we know at this hour. But we do know that over the last 24 hours, Twitter specifically has banned a number of different conservative accounts, not just the president. At the same time, the Chinese Communist Party, the Ayatollah of Iran still have their accounts because they're not a threat to the ruling party here.
Just in the past minute, Twitter has announced it is cutting off President Trump's ability to post on the social media site permanently, suspending the president's account at Real Donald Trump. Twitter saying, after close review of recent tweets from the president's account and the context around them, we have permanently suspended the account due to the risk of further incitement and violence. Obviously, this president has used Twitter throughout his presidency. He has some 89 million followers, and now Twitter permanently suspending his account.
Yeah, you know, they cut it off for about a day and a half, Brett, and now they've cut it off permanently.
There's a whole rash of people all over the country who were at the protest, didn't do anything illegal, were just there protesting, which is their First Amendment right, and they're being fired from their job. And I want to take my time, and you and I have a little back and forth about this, because politics is not a protected class in America. If you work for a company and they say, hey, I hate disgusting conservatives or I hate Republicans, they can fire you because of that. And it's not illegal, my understanding of the law. Am I right or wrong?
You know, it shouldn't be right. Let me just say that. I mean, everybody should be entitled to have an opinion on something.
Tonight, a competing social media service, Parler, which we've told you about, is seeing massive and unprecedented surge in traffic. The site even experienced server outage because of new users tonight. Why? A couple of reasons. Mostly this. Parler is a free speech alternative to Twitter. They don't censor you. You can say what you want.
If you're a Trump supporter, you're getting fired because you're a Trump supporter, and that has been the case. However, this is a slippery slope because there are a lot of business owners out there who are conservatives who might say, oh, you're a socialist? You're a Biden supporter? Okay, well, you're out the door too. And then when you have these companies like Goosehead in Texas who fired a guy, one of their attorneys, he's just sitting there at the peaceful protest. He wasn't doing anything illegal among the 100,000 plus who weren't doing anything illegal. And they fired him just for being there.
The president is on Parler, and that has drawn a lot of people who realize they are being suppressed by Twitter. Parler's succeeding. What happens now? Of course, Silicon Valley is trying to kill it. Google has just removed Parler without any warning from its App Store. Apple and Amazon, which provide services that keep services like Parler online, have also threatened to shut Parler down. Amy Peikoff is the chief policy advisor at Parler, and she joins us today. Amy, thanks so much for coming on. This seemed to come out of nowhere. How big a threat to your company is this?
As it is, we're having some difficulties now with the uptick in traffic, but if they took their service away, we'd be gone.
I mean, there's a huge amount. It's impossible to overstate the amount of filth and political extremism, whatever, on the internet. That's what the internet is. But
yes,
it's Parler.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
But it's Parler that is being singled out. I mean, it's kind of impossible not to conclude this is political repression.
I think that the left feels very emboldened right now. They feel like they have this covered because they can keep saying, oh, well, you have to suppress conservative thought and you have to treat conservatives with such disdain and put them at arm's length and deplatform them and fire them, because otherwise, remember that time when they took over the Capitol building? And they'll keep going back to that. And that's what's so unfortunate about this moment in time.
It really, because I think we do have the reputation as being the conservative platform, although we are nonpartisan. That is what everybody sees us as. We do see this as being politically singled out. The other thing is that we are competing with other platforms who have decided that they want to surveil the people on their platform 24/7 without any particularized suspicion. And, on the one hand, people don't like to live in the world of Orwell's 1984. And then on the other hand, a lot of people seem to want to pressure social media to do more to moderate, as they call it, content on their platforms. But that would require 24-hour surveillance, and we don't think that that is consistent with the principles of America.
Twitter says that President Trump's statement that he will not be attending the inauguration is being received by a number of his supporters as further confirmation that the election was not legitimate, and is being seen as him disavowing his previous claim via 2 tweets for an orderly transition on the 20th. The second tweet may also serve, it says here, as encouragement to those potentially considering violent acts that the inauguration will be a, quote, safe target as he will not be attending. Further, the use of the words American patriots in earlier tweets to describe some of his supporters is also being interpreted as support for those committing violent acts at the U.S. Capitol. And a tweet that he put out earlier today about his supporters having a giant voice long into the future and that they will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form is being interpreted as further indication that President Trump does not plan to facilitate an orderly transition, and instead that he plans to continue to support, empower, and shield those who believe that he won the election.
Let me tell you, conservatives, they've got it right in terms of the overall foundation of where they stand and what they believe in. Conservatives believe in a meritocracy. They believe in opportunity for every single American, and they want to see an economic playing field with a strong, thriving middle class, because that is how we do succeed as a nation.
You're just trying to provide a place for people to say what they think. You're not trying to put Amazon out of business or dethrone Apple or force anybody else's carrier to drop their service. You just want to be left alone and do your thing. Am I mischaracterizing that?
Yes, I mean, we would just like to provide a place where people can come and they can speak freely, that they're not going to be fact-checked, they're not going to be told what to think, what they can read, etc. And also, we do not data pillage. We don't data mine them. We don't turn them into commodities and try to monetize them. And so we would just like to provide that service.
So because of this incitement to violence, as Twitter is perceiving it, they are permanently suspending the president's account. Now, he can still get the message out through his digital media director, Dan Scavino. His Facebook and Instagram accounts have also been blocked. This was the way that the president was reaching out past the press to get straight to his constituents. So we'll have to see how the president reacts to all of this. Brett, it seemed that he reacted all right to the first suspension because he knew it was only going to be temporary, but this permanent suspension now, this may draw something out of the president that we haven't seen so far. So the president will probably yell even louder and longer about that whole thing. But you're right, Brett, that the tweet about, for those of you who have been asking, I'm not going to go to the inauguration on the 20th, would seem to be innocent on the surface.
Right now, we're in a situation where they want to shut down one side entirely. So if you believe in lower taxes and less regulation and the freedom to go to work, even in the middle of this pandemic, you are somehow wrong. As a human being, you need to be canceled. You need to be fired. You're done for. And think about what that could potentially do to our country when they have the Oval Office, Congress, and the Senate.
Well, I mean, it's political repression, period. Now,
Definitely.
Google, when we asked why they did this, and they sent a relatively long statement, we're just going to read a snippet of it to you on the air. We're aware of continued posting in the Parler app that seeks to incite ongoing violence in the U.S. It continues. In light of this ongoing and urgent public safety threat, we're suspending the app's listings from the Play Store until it addresses these issues.
And the nature of an open platform, a free and open town square, is that we do not take action on people until we are aware of a situation.
Right.
It's particularized suspicion. You do
so
not
let me just ask you really
surveil.
quick. I mean, how much of the world's kitty goes through Gmail? How many Gmail accounts have been used to order plastic explosives? How many insurrections have been planned on Google? Like a lot. And so, right? I mean, this is a completely arbitrary standard applied to you because they don't like the politics of the people who use your site.
I mean, that it's looking that way.
Right. And see, what I'm trying to do is game this out, is because if they get into this, if this is where it's going to go, then there's going to be, there cannot not be retaliation. There will be a whole bunch of pro-Americans out there who say of Goosehead insurance. Hey, I'm not going to do business with you because you're for socialists, or you're fascist because you're firing people just for exercising their First Amendment rights. And nobody was talking about firing anybody when they were supporting Black Lives Matter and Antifa.